All right, shalom everybody. Peace of the Lord to all of you. I heard in YouTube and in Rumble. Let us see if Rumble is working and YouTube is working. Is everything good? I think we are good. Okay. So, listen carefully. I don't like to talk about this Batman. You see, he called himself Batman. Sometimes he called himself Dr. Evil, whatever he called himself. But this guy, he claimed to know the Bible. And he have a lot of hatred to Israel. And you can have your own problems with somebody. You can have your hatred as you wish. He make videos to support Hamas. He make a video even crying that his daughter, imagine Hamas like the age of his daughter, he start crying. So he trying to buy emotion from people. He have an agenda. I mean, 3 weeks after October 7, this Batman, he did not cry for all the girls of the Jews, they die. If he care for children, he should care for all children, right? Do I cry only for one group, children's, but I don't cry to the other one? If you are sensitive and you care for your daughter, then you cry for all girls, who they are young. But this hypocrite man, he focused in his hatred to the Jews. So October 7 happened, more than actually more than a month after, when Israel started attacking Hamas. Everybody was complaining why they are not doing anything. He did not even make one video about what Hamas did. He went silence, as nothing happened. And then Israel start attacking back. And then Israel attacking Hamas, and Hamas is hiding under their daughters. And then this potato, he claimed that those people who they are attacking Hamas, trying to get their kids, including children's, kidnapped. Children's. There's 9-month-old baby was kidnapped from his mother. Even dogs they took them. So this guy is either he is mentally ill or he is satanic. You choose one. However, let us not to waste our time. I will show you that he is a big fat liar with the clear evidence from the Bible. And I challenge anyone to say I'm wrong. This is a woman, she called him, and the title says she is a pro-Israel, Zionist. She is a Zionist, brother. So she called him, and this conversation happened. I don't know why there's no sound. Hold on. What happened to the sound? Hold on. I'm not sure why there is no sound. Ooh. Let's try again. Yeah, there is something wrong with the sound. Give me a second. I'm not sure why. Okay. Yeah, there's no sound. Give me a minute. No problema. Something happened with my sound system. I'm not sure what is that. Even I changed the browser, nothing is working. Okay, let me open the setting. Setting. All right.
Israel are
All right, now it's going to work. Bingo. The setting changed by mistake. All right. You guys in Discord, if you don't mind, you can join in YouTube so you can watch. And you can mute one of them just to see the pictures.
Pro-Israel.
This is a lot.
You just destroyed your case for being pro-Israel.
This is a lot. You have to understand. And
I know it's a lot because you've been indoctrinated like I was.
He was indoctrinated too, so he was a kid, stupid kid.
Yeah.
So you are pro-Zionist.
Oh, like, I mean, the whole Bible, you can't be Christian, be anti. So,
no, it's not about being anti-Jewish. You can't be. Jesus is Jew.
Right.
The greatest creature that God created was a Jewish woman named the Blessed.
Look how stupid he is. He said just say Jesus is a Jew. This is how ignorant he is. He's talking like a kid. Because Jesus is the king of the Jew. Before Abraham, I am. So Jesus' existence have nothing to do with being born of the Jews. That is Jesus, the one who appeared to Abraham. And Abraham saw my day, and he glorified me. He rejoiced for it. So when somebody says Jesus was a Jew, you can tell how shallow he is. We can say he's born of the Jewish nation, but he is the king of the Jews, and he is the God of Abraham. Remember, Abraham is the grandfather of all Jews, before the Jews exist. So here is wrong. We continue.
Blessed Mother. That's not what we're talking about. There's a difference between not being anti-Jewish and being pro-Zionist. You said you're pro-Israel. That means you're pro-Zionist. Why?
Well,
listen carefully. He says if you are pro-Israel, you are pro-Zionist. Why?
well, because in the Bible, it's mapped that is their land, and that's where the
Who told you that?
thing will take place.
Yeah, but who?
Guys, who told you that this is their land? Isn't it God? He promised Abraham and his offspring that this is the land will be forever for you. I mean, this guy, he claimed to know the Bible. Look, you know, he's taking advantage that this woman maybe she did not know much. Who told you, he said, that this is the land of the Jews? Oh boy. Who told you? Well, look like we do not know anything about the Bible, right? We never heard what the Lord, he says. That the Lord, he promised the descendant of Abraham the land of Canaan from the valley of Egypt to the Euphrates, not only, you know, the borders of Gaza. Is that true or I'm lying, guys? Who told you? This guy, he claimed that he knew the Bible. What God gave Abraham as a promise and his seed after him, and this is a promise will go forever, for every generation. If we go right now to Genesis 17, did God say in verse number 9 that every generation of your descendant, speaking to them, making a covenant between him and between God and Abraham and his descendant, giving them the land and telling them what to do? What's wrong with this guy? You know, there is people, they are stupid in purpose, and there is people, they play stupid, so I don't know which one is him. I hope that you guys, after you know, we finish this video, you post your comment, and I know he will bark a lot about this video, and he will say, I will wipe the floor with this guy. Where God, he gave Israel their land, and where he promised them. Anyway, so And we have not only here, I mean, we have many verses in the Bible. You know, this is why Musa is even returning to the land. Why Musa is returning to the land. If the land is not there, no, who told you? You know, who told you? He said to the women. And now look how he proved to her what his point, how he can prove it.
Who told you that? Because you're going to a certain church that teaches you what's called dispensationalism, a dispensational view of the scriptures. That's not necessarily...
So there is scripture saying that, but this dispensation view, and this is not necessarily what the New Testament teach. So he is saying there is a contradiction between the Old Testament and the New Testament. This guy, you know, I mean, the funny thing is, just you remember something. When a Muslim, he called him, he asked him about the command to the Jews to kill the children. He says, he defend that. He have tons of videos defending killing children. When it's come to Israel today, war with Hamas, he cry for the children of Hamas. I mean, do you see the hypocrisy? And now he admitted that there is, yeah, in the Old Testament it says that, but he did not mention it yet. But this is not what the New Testament teach. Huh? How come?
What the New Testament teaches, nor is it the view of the church historically. That's more of a modern teaching. Okay. I know that this is what you've been taught because I was taught that. So that's number one. So number two, were you taught there's still God's chosen people?
Yes.
Yeah. So number one, your view about Israel is wrong. This is why you're fighting. You're fighting a battle that's not worth fighting because you have a wrong view of Israel. They're not God's chosen people. Go to Matthew 21.
Guys, they are not God's chosen people. Go where? Matthew 21. I will make you die laughing at this fraud. Go to Matthew 21. Go ahead.
Open up your Bible. Matthew 21. Read 33 to 44.
Okay. Listen to another parable. There was a landowner who planted a vineyard. He put a wall around it, dug a wine press in it, and built a watchtower. He rented the vineyard to some farmers and moved to another place. When the harvest time approached, he sent his servants to the tenants to collect his fruit. The tenants seized his servants. They beat one, killed another, and stoned a third. Then he sent other servants to them, more than the first time, and the tenants treated them the same way. Last of all, he sent his son to them. They will respect my son, he said. But when the tenants saw the son, they said to each other, this is the heir. Come, let's kill him and take his inheritance. So they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him.
Now, before you move on, you understand what the parable is about, right?
Yes.
The vineyard is what?
Israel.
And the tenants, the vine dressers, are the rulers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And their last chance, their last hope of getting it right was what? What did the owner, who's God the Father, do as their last chance to get right? He sent his son last of all, right?
Right.
All right. So then Jesus already says what response will be. They'll kill him.
Yes.
When they kill him, what is God going to do? Now read. Continue reading 44.
Okay. Therefore, when the owner of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those tenants? Jesus said to them, have you never read in the scripture, the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I tell you that the kingdom of God will be taken away from you. And
from who?
From the Israelites.
Yeah, so why would you...
See? From who? From the Israelite, huh? See? Just have patience. I will see how I will spank him. He will cry like a baby. Everybody will laugh at you. You are just a fake Christian. You do not even know the scriptures, and you are a potato. You are a Abdul. No wonder when you saw Sheikh Uthman, you gave him a hug, and he invited you to have dinner with him. You did not say to him, oh, you are a pagan. I don't eat the food of a pagan. You were a hypocrite. You were intimidated. Oh, sorry, I have to go. Why you didn't say to him, you are a pagan, I eat only the food is the one slaughtered in the name of my God? You did not dare, because you are a potato. Now listen. So he's saying to her that this parable is about the Jews. And this was their last chance. How he proved that? It says there, look. It says there that this is the last to come. But I will show you how stupid and silly he is, and how he, I am sure, by the way, he knew that this is not what it's meant. I'm very sure. But this guy, he take advantage of the naive ones who do not know how to give interpretation for the Bible. We can go right now to the stupid articles he made. We can go right now and see the Vatican interpretation for the verse. In fact, I will use the Vatican interpretation to get him busted. Don't he claim that he is a subdued to the Pope, and he claimed that you have to obey your priest? Isn't this what he said to me, reading the scriptures? But he forgot to say to you that the priests, if they are false priests, they are no priest. He forgot that the one who took Jesus to the court, they were priests too. Right? So he is ignorant, he's a liar, and he's a fraud. Let us continue. So, okay, so now who are those people? She said the Israel.
Stone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I tell you that the kingdom of God will be taken away from you. And
from who?
From the Israelites.
Yeah, so why would you say they're God's chosen people? Jesus just said, when you kill me and reject me, the kingdom will be taken away from you. So where did you get their God's chosen people?
I think I got it from
the misreading of the Old Testament. Yeah, I know. Now, so you saw what he said. The kingdom will be taken away from you, right?
Yes.
All right. So that's number one. Now, number two, let me tell you who the true Israelites are. I'm just going to give you scripture. I'm going to give you the Bible. So now let me show you who a true Jew is according to the Jews that wrote the New Testament. These are Jews. Mm-hmm. These Jews are going to tell you who the true Jews are. They're going to tell you, not me. Okay? So Jesus just said the kingdom taken away from you. Kingdom's not yours anymore. Look what the Lord also says. Go to Matthew.
Let us stop here and expose this liar. So guys, his point is that the last one to come to you Jews is the Messiah. And if you don't accept the Messiah, you know, that's it. You lost your choice, right? But if we ask this potato, how many thousand Jews they converted to Christianity after the Messiah was crucified? Anyone know the answer? How many thousand Jews? Thousands. I'm not talking about 2, 3, 4 people. I'm not talking about the disciple now. Disciple already, they are following Jesus, right? How many thousands they follow Jesus and believe in Jesus after the crucifixion of Jesus? Remember, he said that this parable here saying that the kingdom of God will be taken away from you. Who? The one who killed Jesus and the one who don't repent. This is not about Israel, all of it. You are a liar, you are a fraud. How we can prove that? Let us go to Acts, the book of Acts. Let me open the Bible. Give me a minute. If the kingdom of God is taken from the Jews, then the Jews are not the chosen people no more, right? And he is saying if you support Israel, you are Zionist. But this is the land of the Jews. Israel is a person. Israel is a person. And the children of this man who live in that land. And he said that Mary, she believed in Jesus and she was a Jew, right? But after Jesus' death, thousands of Jews accepted Jesus and saved. So if the Jews are not the chosen people no more, then they should not be accepted in the kingdom of God. Remember, he said in the parable, it says, the kingdom of God is be taken away from you. But this is about those who have a hard heart and they want to kill Jesus, the one who hate Jesus. And he mentioned, in fact, if we go to the video, or if we go to Matthew, either this guy, he did not, I mean, English is not my first language, you know, right? If we go here and read what he posted, the tenant size his servant. Okay. Who is the one who sized the servant? Is it all the Jews? Isn't it true that when Jesus was carrying the cross, there's a person who carried the cross for Jesus? All the Jews? Nobody loved Jesus no more? So, when the Bible speaks about the kingdom of God will be taken from you, is talking to you, those who they are there. Jesus warning those people who they are plotting to kill him. If you do that, the kingdom of God will be taken from you. You will not be chosen, you, not all the nation. Nowhere here it says the nation of Israel will be out of the kingdom of God. Anyone see it? Anyone see here where it says the nation of Israel will not be part of the kingdom of God? If we go to Act, how we prove that? That he is false. If we go to the book of Act 2, this is after Christ's crucifixion. The Jews, they have practice where Jews from around the world, like, you know, those who go for a trade, or those who they are born in foreign land, in Greece, or, you know, in Persia, you know, the Jews are scattered during war, slavery, the Persian, they captured them, the Egyptian captured them, so there's Jews everywhere. However, the Jews males, they have to come in a certain day of the year. Let me play the audio, because, you know, my reading will not be good in English as somebody professional.
Acts 2. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together, and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed, and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born, Parthians, and Medes, and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea and Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of God. And they were all amazed, and were in doubt, saying one to another, What meaneth this? Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice, and said unto them, Ye men of Judea,
Men of
and
who?
all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken as ye suppose, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass, in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my Spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass, that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Amen.
Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which God did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. Him, being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of God, ye have taken, and by wicked hands have crucified and slain, whom God hath raised up, having loosed the pains of death, because it was not possible that he should be holden of it. For David speaketh concerning him, I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover also, my flesh shall rest in hope, because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Thou hast made known to me the ways of life. Thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne. He, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption. This Jesus hath God raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. Therefore, being by the right hand of God exalted, and having received of the Father the promise of the Holy Ghost, he hath shed forth this, which ye now see and hear. For David is not ascended into the heavens, but he saith himself, The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou on my right hand, until I make thy foes thy footstool. Therefore let all the house of Israel know assuredly, that God hath made that same Jesus whom ye have crucified, both Lord and Christ.
Amen.
Now when they heard this,
What
they were
happened?
pricked in their heart,
Wow.
and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles,
What we shall do?
Men and brethren, what shall we do?
What we shall do?
Then Peter said unto them, Repent,
Repent.
and be baptized, every one of
Baptized.
you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins,
Amen.
and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost.
Surely
For the
what?
promise is unto you and to...
Hold on. Guys, do you see this fraud, Sam Shamoun, what he is doing? Did I give you a very clear proof that the people of Israel, after the death of Jesus, they are still part of the kingdom of God? Be honest. Isn't this is what the verses are saying? Those are Jews, and this is after Jesus' death. He told them, you crucified Jesus, which means many of those were from those who stand saying, crucify him, crucify him. Remember? His blood is in our hands. This coward, he said to the women, they lost their chance. And this is what the parable means. That's false. All the Bible is about repenting. Hope never been taken from anybody. You are a big fat liar and you are no Christian. He said to them, you crucified him. What he said to them? You crucified you. People, do you see what I see? You crucified him. Speaking to who? The men of Judas. And the Jews are coming from around the world, not only them, not only the men of Judas who they are there, all. And when he mentioned you crucified him, obviously he's talking about the people of Jerusalem who live in Jerusalem, who live in Israel. You crucified him. You killed him. The second they heard this, that he is a Christ. He is you, Jesus, the same whom you have crucified, both Lord and Christ. And he called for them what David said, that the Lord said that my Lord said to my in my right side, in my right hand. Remind them that this is the Christ you are waiting for, what you did, what you have done. And you see here that Peter is asking them to repent. Look like Peter do not know the Bible. And Shamshun Batum, Batman, he knew the Bible more than Peter. Peter do not know that the kingdom of God is taken away from them already. Peter is ignorant about the Bible, and Shamshun, he knew the Bible very well. Now when they hear this, they were pricked in their heart and said to Peter and to the rest, to the apostles, all the apostles there, all, what we shall do? They notice what they have done. What we would do now? We crucified him already. We killed him already. Sam Shamoun is quoting for us Matthew 22 already, 21 already. What we will do? The kingdom is taken away from us. Is it really? Absolutely false. You are a big fraud. Peter said to them, repent and be baptized, which means the Jews after Jesus received the Holy Spirit, because this is what baptism is about. Every one of you. What? If there is any exception? No. Every one of you. Repent and be baptized. So this potato is saying, that's it, the Jews, they lost hope, and you are a Zionist because you support Israel. First of all, we support Israel, as she said in the beginning, because this is their land and God promised them. God, he promised them the land. And God of the Jews is the same God of the Christians. The God of Abraham is the same God of the Christians. We are not Muslims, unless you are a Muslim and you believe your God is different God. So when God, he bless the children of Abraham, and here we speak specifically about the children who they are, the children of Sarai, who God later changed her name to Sarah. And he promised them the land. God never break his promise. In the same time, isn't it in the Old Testament says too, that God will gather the Jews from around the world? If Zionism bringing people of Israel back to the land, that means Zionism is doing the work of God. That means this is the plan of God. God will gather you, Israel, from around the world. Every single one of you. This guy is against the establishment of the Bible prophecy, not only against Israel today. So repent and baptized. The Jews are never out of the kingdom of God. Never. And when we go to Matthew, the parable he is speaking of, he said to her, this is the last. It says the last one will come to you. I sent my son, you killed my son. Yeah, this is true. This is the last. There's no after Jesus. There's any God will send after Jesus? The rest are sent by Jesus, not anyone sent from heaven down to earth. There's no one except Jesus. He's the last. And this is the warning for those who will witness Jesus and they might die any time before they repent. You know, in the cross, there was a person next to Jesus, and Jesus, he promised him, you will be with me today in heaven. Now, how many people they converted to Christianity when this happened of the Jews? For the promise is into you and your children. Let me play the rest.
Then Peter said unto them, Repent, and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. For the promise is unto you and to your children, and to all that are afar off, even as many as the Lord our God shall call. And with many other words did he testify and exhort, saying, Save yourselves from this untoward generation. Then they that gladly received his word were baptized.
See?
And the same day there were added unto them about 3,000 souls.
3,000 Jew
And they
converted.
continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship.
Listen, you and your children. Did he say you and your children? Did he say to them, you and your children? And how many they converted to Christ? Remember, he said that the Jews are out of the kingdom of God. That's false. Absolutely false. In fact, every day, everybody there is a Jew. The disciple, the one who converted, the one who repented, the one who get baptized. So how in the world this idiot, he go around and he say, you are being Zionist supporting Israel and those people. Who said to you that this is their land? Who said to you that God gave them the land? This is what I understood. This is what they told me before. Are you sure? What do you mean they told you before? You are a kid? They did not give you verses from the Bible says that this is the land of the Jews? And now this potato, he will give you all kind of interpretation as he wish. So what I will do? I will use the Vatican website, which is a website I don't approve. Because remember, in their website, it says that Islam is Abrahamic. The Pope, he pray, may God protect Islam. Go check it out. The Pope, he says all religion lead to God, which is absolutely false and against the Bible. And tens of pupus, those Pope, they make every few years. But this is the Vatican website. Do the Vatican website say that this is really about the Jews and the Jews are accepted to be Christians and this is after Jesus? As you see, I can give you the link, you can read it. 3,000 Jews converted after Christ's crucifixion. Anyway, you know, stupidity is amazing. And not to mention that we have the book of Rome where it says Israel will be saved. Will, you know what will mean? He said Israel will be saved, not an Israeli person. Israel. Do I need even more proofs to convince anyone? If we go to Romans chapter 11, we will find this. And I can open the Vatican interpretation too. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. Guys, do you see it? All Israel. This potato, he said, the Jews are no more the children of God. Did he say that? Does it say will? Is that about the past or about the future? Shall be saved? So why the disciples, they keep coming back to Jerusalem? If Israel, that's it, they lost. Why Paul, he risked his life? If that's it, they are out. Can you see the hypocrisy and the lies of this man? I mean, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses, they have way more honor than you. You, not only you lost your hair, you lost your belief. You are satanic. No wonder you make all those pictures of you, evil man, Batman. Look what you are wearing, t-shirt, Batman. Mental. So Israel will be saved. And this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sin. Israeli, in the time of Jesus, they accepted Jesus. Israeli, after the time of Jesus, they accepted Jesus. Israeli, after the disciple time, they will believe in Jesus. And this is what we see in Israel right now as we speak. Every day, there's a new convert accepting the Messiah. And if the scenario stay this way, Israel, maybe in 100 years from now, will become all of it is a Christians. So the kingdom of God will be taken away from you, those who they will not repent, those who will reject, those who will die with their sin. Remember, at that time, the Gentiles do not know anything about Jesus, so nothing will be taken away from them anyway. They have nothing. They have nothing to be taken away. This is why he's speaking to the Jews. But the truth is, now we receive the message of Jesus, everything will be taken away from us too. Not only the Jews. Anyone who don't believe and he die, it will be taken away from him. Now we can go and mention, like from the book of Revelation, about tribes of Israel, they are promised to be in heaven, etc. But we will not go there, because I believe it's so clear in the front of you that whoever is anti-Israel is anti-God. You know, when he say Zionist, this is Zionist coming from what? Zion. So from Sahiyun, in verse number 27, it says, a Savior will come. And those who reject, listen carefully, and those who reject Jesus of the Jews or anyone, they will be enemy. However, if you go a little bit down, you will see something very, very powerful. As concerning the gospel, they are your enemies for your sake. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes. So even those who reject, they are your enemy, which means they have enmity against you. They are still beloved. This is the Bible teaching. What we will say to the ignorance, what we will say to the liars, what we will say to the fool. $3,000 souls. You know at that time what that mean, the percentage of the Christian Jews at that time? It's like almost 100%. At that time the Christians numbers are not non-Jews, are very small. So when we speak about 3,000 Jews convert in one day, not 1 month, just 1 day, that is a massive number. So I want to say to you, there is many liars. They have no shame. They have no dignity. If you are against war, then you should go and say, I am against the book of Numbers, I reject it. God said to them, go and attack. But you are a fraud. You are a hypocrite. When a Muslim he call you, you defend. When Israel attack, you are crying, for you are a hypocrite. When the Muslims attack Israel and kill their children, you are happy. You never open your mouth, for you are a hypocrite. A person who is sensitive for seeing death on TV, he will be crying for all kids. All kids, no matter they are Jews, they are Muslims, they are Christians, they are Hindus. But because you have an agenda and you are a hypocrite liar, you have no shame. No shame. Remember, he said to the women, they lost their last chance. So he's saying that the book of Acts is a fabrication.
Vineyard and killed him.
Now, before you move on, you understand what the parable is about, right?
Yes.
The vineyard is what?
Israel.
And the tenants, the vine dressers, are the rulers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
this potato, did he say the rulers? Did he say the rulers? Okay. So so you know, when somebody is a scumbag, he try to find any excuse to support his lies. The same as, you know, he speak about icons and pictures, and he starts saying that the church father, they come with this. It looked like, you know, a priest, he can add as he wish, and we don't follow the Bible no more, which forbid us from making any images. And then they say to you, God, he told, you know, when to build the temple, make an image of the cherubim, but he will not mention to you that this image, nobody even can see it. The believer cannot even stand in the front. Even the priest, he will never even see it except once a year, just to go and clean inside. When somebody have an excuse, or he don't have, he look for one. If somebody want to fornicate, he will find 1,000 excuses to fornicate. If you want to kill, he will find the excuse. If you want to steal, he will find excuse. Is always there. But we know that Jesus is all about love, and he never hated the Jews. Never. He was disappointed of many, but even the one who they were rejecting him, as we see in Acts, the one, Peter, he said to them, you crucified him, you. Which means he's speaking to people who really were part of the crime committed against Jesus. So if those people, they crucified Jesus, how in the world they are accepted to get baptized and to be called the Christians? How they are accepted to receive the Holy Ghost? You know, when you receive the Holy Ghost, that means God accepted you. Not Peter, not Paul. The Holy Ghost is a gift of God. So God, he bless you by accepting you and support you with the Holy Spirit. But those are the same people who killed Jesus, who this guy, he's saying, they lost their chance because they killed Jesus. How many are they? 3,000. Do you know at that time, like, how many people they were gathering around Jesus? 3,000 now in front of them. 3,000. 3,000 actually, they accepted Jesus. And you know, like if I make a speech in front of maybe 100,000, how many people will accept? So Peter was inviting everybody. He was inviting everybody to repent. Not only those 3,000. 3,000 is the total number of those who accepted to become Christians. We didn't know what the total number was. So the door never been closed to the Jews. And this is after the death of Jesus. If you are not too much knowledgeable about the Bible and history, the verses itself explain to you. It says, you killed him, you crucified him. And he was raised up, and all of us, we are witnesses. So there is no question that the Jews never been out of the mercy of God. Never. And you know, speaking about those who lost their kingdom, so according to this potato, if somebody commits sin, he lost too. Because when when you commit sin, you are crucifying Jesus. When you commit sin, you are doing a war against God. All of us, we do commit sin. That means we lost hope. So I say to you, the Bible warns us about false teachers. Don't make this person fool you, claiming that he is a Christian. He is doing business. And I will give you another proof that this guy is a fraud. He attacked me for supporting Israel, correct? But he never dared to open his mouth against apostate prophet and David Wood. Those guys, as we speak now, they are alive defending Israel. Now. Apostate prophet, he wear the Star of David in his chest. Go check it out in his video. He wear the hat of the Jews and David Wood too. He never dared to make a video for them and to say to them, you are a Mossad agent and you are a Zionist, shame on you. He sat like a puppy. He don't dare to speak against them. Do you know why? Because he need them. He need their channels. This guy is an opportunist. Is not a man of God. He will never speak his mind, no matter who. He is very selective and elective. You know what I mean? Because if he's against anyone who speak, why he don't make a video about apostate prophet, expose him? Why you don't make a video about David Wood, expose him, supporting Israel? You don't dare. Because you're a fraud. Do you agree? Anyone have the video of David Wood and apostate prophet wearing the hat of the Jews in their head? And you know, even apostate prophet, every time he go on online, he play with the shofar. And then he go to his channel like a puppy. They are friends. He have no problem with him. Coward. Coward. You have no shame. When, you know, everybody know me. If I hear David Wood say something wrong, I say. Is that correct, guys? I have no enmity with them. I mean, I believe David Wood. I mean, he's doing a good job. I said many times, like he make a very nice videos when, especially if they are short. But doesn't mean he don't make mistakes about Islam. But I don't blame him. He don't speak Arabic. Like he keeps saying, Islam mean submission. I keep saying, don't say that. It means surrender. So if you are a believer in something, you stand with your belief. But when it's come to somebody, he can make him money. He will invite him to his channel and get him promoted and get him more subscribers. He is like a puppy. He don't dare to talk about the Zionist. Speaking to this woman, he got her busted, supposedly. But in front of those guys, he is a rabbit. Okay. He talked there only about Muhammad. He never dared to talk about Israel. So I have a challenge for Sam Shamshun. Either you are like Samson, the hero, but you lost your hair, huh? And therefore you cannot to destroy any temple, or maybe you still have some power and energy. So what about you expose those like David Wood and apostate prophet who support Zionist? Every video. I mean, if we go in the last 30 days, how many videos David Wood and apostate prophet they made supporting Israel? How many? He never hear it. He never know about them. No, I don't know anything about them. I know only about Christian Prince. He is a Mossad agent. Right? But don't forget to buy him a massage chair. It costs only $5,000. Man of God. So, all of Christianity is about repentance. All of it. And the chosen people of God, they are chosen for the chosen people, because they are the only one who knows God. So when he mentioned that parable, it was Jesus speaking to them to warn them that if you don't repent, you will be sorry. So to make it simple, those who did reject Jesus, they will be sorry. No matter they are Jews or not Jews. The Bible says it clearly, whoever denied the Son and the Father is what? Is an Antichrist. No matter who, including you and me and him and the Jews, no matter. But as we see in the book of Acts, a live evidence how the disciples of Jesus doing their best during their lifetime to save Israel. They are doing their best. And they come back to Israel many times, trying to save Israel. If Israel has no place no more in the kingdom of God as this potato, he said, the disciple will never even stay a second. Isn't it Jesus says that the one who reject you or reject your, my teaching, clean your sandal from their dust? Did he say that? He said, right? So why the disciple coming back again and again? Because Jesus, they knew how much Jesus, he cared for Israel. They knew the promise of God for Israel. They understand very well the book of Revelation and what Revelation is about. That Israel will be saved. You and your children. And God will gather them from around the world. As the Bible promised. So be careful from false teachers. They are evil. They are deceivers. And this guy one day, if he noticed that the number of people watching his videos is shrinking, he will change his mind. He will say, I support Israel now. He was calling, what his name? The guy, this Protestant guy? I forgot his name. He was calling him names, etc. They just invited him for a dinner, Suddenly he is a friend with them. And suddenly he said, according to him, I'm still heretic. He did not even dare to say he's heretic. How many times he called the guy pig, filthy, scumbag, I mean, all names, and he claimed to be Christian by support, just because the guy is a Protestant. And I assure you, this guy is not even a Catholic. He's not. He sided with Hamas. There's no way a person who is a Catholic will side with Hamas. He claimed he don't side. No, you side. When you say, I'm not going to support Israel, you want to give the land to Hamas. Who is going to take the land if Israel is out? Hamas. Al-Qaeda. They took your land, you idiot, already. They took Iraq. They took Syria. And you coward, you do not understand that Israel is your last hope? Israel, I will speak now, is 30 kilometers away from Damascus. So if one day we were able to free Israel from any bad teaching, and all of Israel become Christian, as Romans 11 says, Israel will be saved. We can take Jerusalem back, not only Jerusalem, we will take Damascus back, not only Damascus, we can take Baghdad back, for God, He promised that your land Israel is from Israel, from the river to the river, all the way to the Euphrates. And the prophecy of God is happening. Muslims are losing, Israel is winning. And trust me, if God want to destroy Israel, if God want to destroy any nation, He can destroy them by even without even saying a word. All the enemy, it's amazing. All the enemy wiped out. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Syrian regime, even the Iraqi leaders of the Shia, they are running away to Iran. Every single one of them, they are running out of Iraq. The Iraqi government now, they are thinking how to change the government to get away from Israel. All the enemy of Israel are doomed. And I say to this bold man, you are doomed too. And God will punish you. If not already did. I believe He did already. This is my advice for you, Christians. If you go against Israel, you will be against God. Who can remind me which verse in the Bible says that God will gather Israel again? Anybody can remind me? I have a bad memory. I'm 17 years old. Remind me, please. God, He promised that in the day, in the end of the time, He will gather them. To do what? For what? Party? Hypocrite? Liar? Will end in fire. And you know, I am a person, I made tons of videos exposing false Jewish teaching. You are my witness. How many videos I made exposing this scumbag to weave a singer? How many times? A lot. Right? But that will not change anything. That we are believers and the Bible is our book. And there's evil people everywhere. Even from those who call themselves a Christian, they are satanic. There's a child molester who they are priests. They are wearing uniform, making themselves as men of God so they can fool and prey on children like Mohammed. When the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, says that He will rise a signal, for the nations and will assemble the banished of Israel, and gather the people, the scattered people of Judah from every corner of the earth. This potato, he says, if you support Israel, you are a Zionist and you are evil. Look like God himself is a Zionist. And he is the one behind the gathering of the people of Israel. Is it true? People, am I lying? God will gather them from everywhere. From everywhere. Every corner of the earth will gather them to go back where? To Israel. I will open the verse for you. You know, the Bible is like, you know, if I read this prophecy 78 years ago, I will say this is a dream. I mean, this land occupied by the Muslims, they are the major population. How in the world that can happen? Is it true? Who in the world can believe that after thousands of years, those people will take back their land? This is mission impossible. It is impossible. Especially the Jews are not even there. They are scattered, as the Bible says, they are scattered. My friend, it is the power of God that Israel is established. This is not the power of man. This is not man power. This is God power. Hamas and Muslims are defeated in front of Israel because God is with them. And the Bible says it clearly, if the Lord is with me, who could be against me? God, he promised to destroy the nation of the Assyrian, and this guy is an Assyrian. Is it true that they are destroyed? Is it true? They are. There's almost nothing left in Iraq from the Assyrian. They are gone. The kingdom is taken away from them. So do you see who is the kingdom taken away from him? It's you. Can you take it back? I will tell you the only way to take it back is Israel. Israel can't take it back. You cannot. You are busy gambling and having party. I support Israel, and I am an Arab, and I mentioned many times, if the Israeli army allow me to join them to fight those terrorists, I will be honored. For when we fight those terrorists, we are protecting the Christians too. We played to you the video how the Muslims, they say they want to attack all the way to Rome, which means if you are a Catholic, you should be thankful for the Jews. They are defending your Rome. They will come into Rome. Where? To Rome. What they have to do with Rome? Is Israel in Rome? Maybe. Yeah. What seriously, what the Muslims have to do with Rome? They are targeting the Catholic. They hate the Catholic. And this guy, he's defending the Muslims. He claimed to be against Islam, but he is against Israel. They want to destroy every country in the world. Their dream to dominate and control every land. And Israel is doing and fighting for all of us. If not Israel, they will be busy with you. Let us see this Christmas how many cars will run over Christmas people doing shopping in Germany. Huh? They must be sent by the Zionist. This guy is telling you that he is coming to Rome. Are you ready? Listen, listen, we should not support Israel. We should let Hamas take over so we can kill the Catholic. Listen carefully what he will say. Uh-oh, error. I want to play it where he maybe here. Do you see it says today Rome is the capital of the Catholic or the Crusader capital. We want to come to the Catholic. And the bold potato kid, he want to defend the children of Hamas.
القسطنطينية وإذا كانت اليوم هي عاصمة الكاثوليك أو الصليبية التي أعلنت عداءها للإسلام ليمنعوا نهضة الإسلام من جديد ستكون عاصمتهم نقطة متقدمة للفتوحات الإسلامية التي تنساح في أوروبا كلها ثم تلتفت إلى الأمريكتين بل إلى أوروبا الشرقية أنتم الأعلى.
You are the victorious, you are the alone. So my friend, just to tell you how stupid those who go against Israel and they claim to be Christian, like the filthy Pope who is busy kissing the ass of the Muslims and kissing the Quran. You know, in the long time ago, the previous Pope, he kissed the Quran. I said, you know, he's a guy, he's doing politics. Come on, don't take it. But then the more I know about those popes, the more I know that they are puppies. They are kissing the ass of Muhammad. And they are kissing the ass of the atheist. And they are betraying the Bible and Jesus. And I know that Catholic, they are so angry from those so-called Pope. Very shameful. The Pope is worried about Gaza, but he never worry about the Christians in Syria, about the Christians in Iraq. How many times he said we should check if there's war crimes for the Christians in Iraq? How many times he did that for Syria? What about Nigeria? He's worried for Gaza. He even make Jesus dress Arabian clothes. He forgot that the Bible says that the lineage of Jesus is coming all the way to David. Look like for the Pope, David was an Arab. My friend, be aware of false teachers. From their fruits, you shall know them. Do we agree? I made a video maybe, I don't know, 10 days ago? I'm not sure. It's called The Question for the Lebanese Christians. Anyone saw it? Because I got angry. Why? Because I saw some Lebanese Christians in their media saying the Israeli enemy, the Israeli enemy, the Israeli enemy. And I saw how hypocrite they are. I mean, you are celebrating now because the Assad is gone. Who make him gone? Israel. Who is the one who free you from Hezbollah? Israel. If Israel did not destroy Hezbollah, all the weapon of Hezbollah is going to kill the Christians in Lebanon. If they did not use it for Israel, they will use it against you. And then you will see a Christian guy from Lebanon says, the Israeli enemy. You idiot. You potato. You coward. You hypocrite. You should be very thankful for Israel. They destroy all your enemy in less than 60 days. The Lebanese Christians in Lebanon, they are trying to elect a president who is going to be Christian, but they cannot. Hezbollah don't allow them. The Shia, they control the parliament. The leader of the parliament is a Shia. He will not even open the door. Hezbollah have to approve the president, and he have to be supporting them. Now they are like puppy. They agree. They lost the war. They got destroyed. They became shish kebab. The Assad is bye-bye. Today Israel is even farther inside Syria. They are not even 30 kilometers away from Damascus. I pray that they will take Damascus tomorrow. Which is going to be better? Damascus under the land, under the government of Israel, or under those filthy terrorists? You know the answer. And believe me, the Muslims themselves, they will wish that Israel will enter into Jerusalem. When you support Israel, you are not doing a favor to Israel. You are supporting yourself. This filthy religion, they are targeting all the earth, even the Hindus, even the Buddhists, even the atheists, nobody. Israel, strong Israel, mean weak Islam. Erdogan is acting like a puppy. He don't dare. Otherwise, who's going to stop him? Only one is Israel. The news of Israel, the victorious Israel, while everybody is losing, Israel is winning. And the hypocrites are crying because they hate Israel. An hour ago, Israel just took over one of the most important mountains. Every day they are taking a new mountain. And Erdogan is crying. They burned the depot of criminals and their weapon, and nobody dared to open his mouth. Nobody. In Israel, you can throw potato at the prime minister. You're fine. In Islamic countries, you don't even dare to open your mouth. If you fart, you die. If you fart, you know what farting is? Just fart. Fart is a crime unless it's approved by Allah. If you fart and it's not approved by Allah, you are in trouble. For this is the religion of God. I mean, come on. This is Godly religion. Anyway, Lord have mercy. Did we have a good time? And I know this potato now, he will start barking and he will misuse the Bible. But as you see, my friends, the book of Acts is so clear, and we can show you more and more verses, and the book of Romans is so clear. So repent, for you, your children, all of Israel is still welcomed, beloved by God. Peter did not lie. He spoke to them in their face. He asked them to repent because they are still people of God. You see, if somebody, like when Jesus, he cursed the tree, that means Jesus, he will never accept the tree anymore to live. He just cursed the tree. And this goes for every one of us. Peter and the disciple, If I will say, Peter, obviously he misunderstood what Jesus says, he have no right to tell them that you can repent and you can accept and you can survive and you can receive the Holy Ghost. If I say that about Peter, that means I don't believe in the Bible.
Hello, Christian Prince.
Yes, my friend.
Look, I'm not trying to end up on one of your videos like destroying an Arab Christian or whatever. I'm not trying to like full on debate, okay? I'm Arab, okay? I disagree on your stance with Zionism, and I'm willing to conversate, okay? Conversate, not debate. Okay.
You can conversate with me, but hold on. So, is the Jews are still people of God or they are not?
Obviously, Jews which reject Jesus. Obviously, they're
so how the Jews who reject Jesus and they crucify Jesus, now they repent and they become people of Jesus and they receive the Holy Spirit.
So they're 100% the people of Jesus, obviously. The people of
they
God,
what? They are what? They're what?
If they accept Jesus, then they're people of God.
Okay,
in the book of
that's
Revelation,
it.
said,
so this is what we're saying. So still they are. The door is open for them. They are not rejected, and they are not out. They are not out of the mercy of God. And so this guy, he was lying when he said that this is their last chance, and they are not chosen people of God. Because if they are not the chosen people of God, why in the world, after what they did, still they can be, accepted? After all what they did, not only they reject Jesus.
I think you misunderstand.
Misunderstand what?
I think you misunderstand someone's position. Let me emphasize.
Okay, emphasize.
As a Jew, once you accept Jesus, you're no longer a Jew. That's the whole point.
That's false. That's false.
You can't be a
Jew. That's false. 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 That's absolutely false. Obviously, you do not know what a Jew means. Do you know what Jew mean?
I mean,
just get out of here, man. You don't even know what a Jew means. Jew, just go out away. I mean, I don't know who is teaching you. You're just a kid. So he is not a Jew no more. Why? He lost where he's from? People of Judah, men of Judah. Do you know how to read? I don't know what's wrong with those people. All of them, they are Jews. This is a day where nobody gather here except Jews. And the one with them too is the Christians who they are Jews too. Peter is still a Jew. Isn't it Paul? He says, me as a Jew? Looks like Paul is not a Christian now. He said he's a Jew. So if you accept Jesus, you're not a Jew no more. What the heck? You don't know what Jews mean. So in the book of Romans, when he said Israel will be saved, we misunderstood. Israel will be saved. This is only the land, like Israel, the land. No, this is Israel. Israel means the land and the people. This is why Israel is called Israel. My advice to you, before you open your mouth, at least learn definition of things. Somebody asks you what Jews mean? Know what Jews mean. Yeah, I thought he have something to say serious, like I thought maybe he have a good thing want to share to me. Since you become a Christian, that's it, you are not a Jew. No. You are a Christian Jew. Christian Jew mean that he is from the Jews who accepted the Christ. Christian mean that he is from the Gentile who is become a Christian. Somebody saying speaking in tongues that a sign it's you are saved. My friend, God, he give power and opportunity to people to use them. So speaking in tongues, like there's people they can do miracles. They can, it's true, it can happen. God gave them power. But doesn't mean if you don't and you cannot, you are not being saved. You got the Bible wrong. All the disciples of Jesus who did miracles, including even resurrecting people. Even Muslims agree on that. They were killed. Your Lord, the Messiah himself, was killed. So we as a Christians, when we say we are Christian, doesn't mean we became Superman. So not every Christian will be this, he can do the same as what Paul did or what Peter did. God, he gave people gifts. Somebody is a speaker, somebody is a teacher, somebody is wise. Somebody, he knew music, he making music for the Lord. So use your gift which God he gave you for the sake of the Lord, and you are speaking in tongues. And I know what you are talking about in here, like speaking in tongues. But speaking in tongues can be done in many ways. I can be speaking in tongues without speaking a language. How? The Lord, he said, from their fruits you shall know them. So you see an old woman crossing the street carrying stuff, you help her. You just did speak in tongues without talking. Maybe she is a Muslim, maybe she is a Persian, maybe she is Chinese, maybe she is etc. But what she saw, that a Christian man, he spoke to her heart and he showed her his fruit. I hope that we have enough evidence that Jews are still people of God and they are welcome for the kingdom of God. And 3,000 of those who they are partner of crucifying Jesus. Listen carefully. Did he say you crucified him? Did he say that to them? Did he say you crucified him? Read it in front of you, all of this. So he's speaking to people who commit a crime against Jesus, not just anybody. He was resurrected, the one you crucified, the one you killed. Yet they are begging them to repent. They are standing between them. They did not lose hope. For people of Israel are still people of Israel. And God loved them. For God, he loved the world. He sent his only begotten son. You see, when this man, he's used this parable, he says that Jesus came for the Jews. And I'm sure, by the way, he's listening. He's in the chat like a puppy, but he don't dare to call me. I assure you. Do you dare to call? So listen. Does it say, for God he loved the world? He sent his only begotten son? It says that, right? The word. And Jesus says, I came to my people and my people rejected me. Correct? So which one is the world? Is it Israel or all the world? God, he knew, and God, he can see the future. Who is going to reject Jesus? Who is going to accept Jesus? Still he says, for God loved the world. And Jesus came to the Jews specifically. Those who rejected him, they rejected themselves, not Jesus. They heard themselves, not Jesus. Those who accepted the Messiah, they are saved. For God, he loved the world. Which means the world include everyone, a child of Adam, including you and me. All of us, we are sinners. So if the sin of Israel is the reason for Israel not to be chosen of God, as this guy he claimed, you are a liar. Because God, he came to Israel when they were committing sin. And when he came to them and many rejected him, still after that, the disciple, they worked so hard to convert them and to make them believe in Jesus. And as we see the fruit, Peter said to them, repent, be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for remission of sin. Those are the people who killed Jesus. By repenting, the blood of Jesus is not in their hand no more. Do you see how much God have love for all of us? Not only the Jews. Imagine you just killed Jews. You killed him. Not insult him. You killed him. Repent. And do you see how much Peter, he loved the Jews? And he is a Jew. He's not holding sword. He says, I want to kill you. This is why the Bible says love never fails. He came back with the disciple with love, even though in their heart there's a lot of sadness. What have done? Yet because of love, and love never failed, love spoke, for God is love. When God, he spoke with love within Peter, love touched their heart. Their heart felt so sorry. They felt broken. They felt amazed. Now, when they heard this, they were pricked in their heart and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles, men and brethren, what we shall do? And yet this potato, he says to us, they are not chosen people of God no more. God is in their heart. 3,000 people convert to Christianity in that day. That means at that point, the Jews, Christians are almost 100%. Almost. In one day. Which means, if we are today Christians, because those Jews who this guy is saying they are not a chosen people. You see, they are chosen. They are chosen. This is why they felt, they repent, they get baptized, and they follow Jesus, even after they crucified him, and then they came to us to teach and to preach and to baptize. Those people, they become the messengers of Jesus. They went around the world. Remember, this occasion here is where Jews gather from around the world. Jews, they are Jews. The Jews, they've been captured, they've been enslaved in Persia, in Iraq, in Egypt, they went to Greece. In this day, they gather from everywhere. From everywhere, including the men of Israel. So the disciples, they were waiting for the Jews, specifically for the Jews, who they are coming from around the world, to speak to them, to invite them, So if they lost salvation and they are not part of kingdom of God, why all the disciples? Not like you see, it's enough to send Peter, right? Why we have all of those? The disciple, all of them, gathering together, making speeches to the Jews. And the reason they are speaking in tongues, in case you do not know, because those Jews, many of them, not only those who they are living in Jerusalem full time, many of those Jews are coming from everywhere, as you see. They are coming from around the world. So how we can talk to them? So they spoke in tongues. They are coming from Asia, they are coming from Europe, they are coming from everywhere, from Africa, from Arabia, from Egypt, from Libya, and from Rome. And they were all amazed. How this is happening, how they are speaking on tongues. And then some, they said maybe they are drunk. We didn't know what they are saying. I don't know. How they are talking in languages we don't know. Some of us understand the language, some they don't. And then Peter, speaking to all those Jews, to the Jews, including the Jews who crucified Jesus. Ye men of Judah, and all ye that dwell in Jerusalem. Dwell in Jerusalem. Those are people who permanently sitting and living in Jerusalem. Be this known unto you, and hearken to my word. For those are not drunken, because they thought they are drunken. He was explaining to them what's happening. It's a miracle. It's a power of God. And then, after making this speech, those who do this potato saying the Jews are bad, look how their heart right away is softened. And they felt so bad for what they have done. They were crying out how we can, what we should do. We killed Jesus, what we should do now, what's the solution? Did we lose our hope? Peter said, no, repent. Repent. And go and baptized. Not only repent, admit to baptism, so you can receive the Holy Ghost. My friend, this is very pretty and very beautiful. This is the love of God. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. Then this potato will say to you, he was forgiving the Roman. Why he will forgive the Roman? The Roman, they knew what they are doing. They are crucifying. He is forgiving those who did kill him in purpose. This is how much Jesus he loved, even those who killed him. What we shall do, Peter? Apostles, what we should do? I killed Jesus, what I should do? How in the world I can fix that? Imagine how horrible the news. They just noticed how bad what they have done. And the good news came to them. Listen, people of Israel, you are not out of the kingdom of God. You are not. Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for remission of sin. Your sin. Your sin. You sin. What is the sin they did? They killed Jesus. He told them, you killed Jesus. You know, when Jesus said, I was hungry and you fed me, and I was a prisoner and you visited me. And then the disciples, they said to him, when we did that? We never did that to you. What are you talking about? He said, when you do it to my brothers, you did it to me. Who is the brothers he's talking about? Where he was at that time, between the Jews. Jesus gave us a message that an act of mercy you do to everybody while he is in Israel. And this goes for everybody in the world, by the way, don't take me wrong. I'm not saying only the Jews, but he was at that time between the Jews. An act of mercy, an act of love you do to anybody, and he is now between the Jews, you are doing it to me. This is how much Jesus, he loved them. And many of them, they hated him. Still, Jesus loved them. This is what God is about. We hate Jesus when we commit sin. We do. Still, Jesus loves us. Repent. Knock at my door, and I will open for you. So this filthy man, he is denying even the nature of Jesus, saying that Jesus took mercy from those people. They are nobody no more, which is totally against who as Jesus is. He's changing the identity of Jesus, making him evil, when Jesus, all what he said is proving the opposite. Forgiveness, love, mercy, repent, all of this have to be done before you die. The one who died did not repent, well, too bad for you. And those are the ones who were part of Christ's crucifixion. I did not put nails in the hand of Jesus physically, but I did by sin. I did not curse him by saying words, but I did by sin. The wage of sin is death, and that goes for everybody. It goes for everybody because God is about just. Jews, non-Jews, no matter. And repentance goes for everybody. And those who say the Jews are out and they are cast out, he is a fraud. I hope what I explained to you today is clear. I'm not going to talk about this topic no more. This guy don't even deserve my time. But one of you, he asked me to refute this. I said, you know what? It's time to give him what he deserves. And don't be fooled saying that Catholic believe in this. Catholic, many of them do not even know what Catholic mean. The same as those Orthodox. They claim to be, they knew. Like this guy don't even know what Jews mean. The same as a Protestant. They don't even know what Protestant mean. There's many people, they are just by name. They, you know, his dad is a Protestant, he is a Protestant. His mama is a Catholic, he is a Catholic. They have no idea. Division is our enemy. We don't have to agree about certain things like pictures. I don't agree with pictures. But still you are my brother Christ. For what decide who is a Christian or is not is what Jesus said. Whoever believes in the Messiah and his blood, and he is the Savior, and he is Son of God, and he's born of the Virgin Mary. And nobody have the way and salvation except the Messiah. If you believe in that, you are Christian. You believe in the Holy Spirit, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, the crucifixion, you are Christian. You don't agree with the picture, I don't agree with the picture, who cares? This is not where salvation is. Salvation is not in pictures. Never was and never will be. Salvation is by belief. Do you remember when the Gentile women, the Canaanite, the Aramic women, she said, Lord, even dogs, they have crumbs under the table. What Jesus said to her? Did he reject her? No, he welcomed her. He blessed her. She is not a Jew. At that time, still he came to the Jews. But this woman, she showed that she understood very well who is the God of the Jews. Even though she is not from the Jews, she was welcomed by Jesus. So be careful from those who try to make Jesus as a demon. He's angry from the Jews. He took the kingdom from the Jews. He will destroy the Jews. Liar. The Bible says the opposite. God, he loved them. That's why he asked them to repent. So he will stay speaking to you until the last second in your life, even if you are not a Jew, hoping that you will repent. So yes, they are still chosen people of God, and nobody replaced them. Israel is Israel. I am not from Israel, and I will never be. Even if I move to Jerusalem, I am not an Israeli. Israeli are an ethnic group, not just a religion. They are ethnic group. They are children of certain tribes, of certain men, of certain blood. And God, he made a promise to them, promising the land, promising the blessing, promising the power, and promising the salvation. This is why Christ was a prophesied to them. Yeah. Somebody says the worth First Thessaloniki. Yeah, we can quote a verse. We can quote a verse, and we can make a story out of it. But as you see, always we can play games with the verses, and we do what the Muslims do. We take one verse and we forget about the rest, right? Is that correct, guys? I can take a verse. This is what Samson he do. I can take a verse and forget about the rest. I will forget that it says that the Jews will be saved. Israel will be saved. I will forget that thousands of Jews, even after the crucifixion of Jesus, they accepted, they baptized, and they become Christians. As we speak now, isn't it? It's true that there's Jews are converting to Christianity. So are they saved? Those are Israel. I cannot call myself Israel. Right? And if you notice, when this person who posed for us the verse about Paul, speaking about the Jews, he is speaking the same as always. Those who reject Jesus and they will die still rejecting Jesus, they have no salvation. You brought nothing new. Still the message for them, baptized, repent. And what Paul is saying to them, your action will have a consequence. You will go to hell. But this goes for everybody. Paul is upset from the Jew. He's a Jew. Paul is a very Orthodox Jew. He's a rabbi, big rabbi. He is desperate to save them. That's why he's angry. Not because he hates them. It's like when you shout at your children. You try your best to warn them from what is coming to you. And then if somebody have an agenda to teach hate against the Jews, he will quote only one verse of what Paul said, forgetting that Paul himself is a Jew. Notice Let me put this verse here on the screen. When somebody quote for us, you know, some people, they are very selective and elective. But look what the verse is saying. Does it confirm that there's a churches in Judas? There is, right? There's a churches, right? Christians. Where? In Israel. So how Israel is out? How come you remember the last part, you didn't remember the first part? So Israel never been out of the mercy of the Lord. For those are Israeli. Don't you know that our visit to you was not for fun, for wasting time? Don't you know how much we suffer? Huh? In Philippi? Don't you know how much you resist? Don't you know how much we do to bring the good news for you? All of this for what? To save the Jews. And remember, when we make a speech, like when a priest, he says, America, repent, America, you commit sin, America. Does that mean every person in America is doing homosexuality? Or no, this guy is making a speech in general. There's a lot of Jews accepted Jesus. We choose as we wish, for our choice is to serve an agenda or propaganda. But the Bible is so clear. The Jews, they will stay, they're still Jews, they believe in Jesus or not. They are Jews. The one who believes in Jesus, he saved himself. Yet, nobody will replace him as a Jew. He is a Jewish Christian. He is Israel. Nobody will replace him. I cannot replace a Christian Chinese, just to make it simple for you. So if I go to China, let us say Jesus came to China, he did not come to Israel. And the first ones who accepted Jesus in China, the Chinese. If I go to China and I accepted Jesus, am I going to replace the Chinese? No. I replace nobody. I will be me. I will be my ethnic. I will be my tongue, my language. And the Jews will be always Jews. They are Christians or not, they are Jews. So, Israel never been removed from the love of God. For there's a lot of Jews who they are Israel Christians. Now as we speak. And as you see in the Bible says it clearly, that thousands of people converted to Christianity and get baptized. All of those, the messages of Paul, is an advice and presenting the suffering of how much they suffer with the Jews, they suffer with the Roman, they suffer with the Gentile, everybody denying, refusing. They kill them, they chase them, they hide. I mean, the Christians, they hide always underground. They don't even dare to have a church above the ground. Their meeting have to be secretly. They can't even meet more than 3, 4 at the same time. They have to be very careful how many people they come out of the door. If they come all together, they will notice there was a meeting. So there's a lot of frustration. But in the same time, there's a lot of a blessing and a lot of success. And when Romans says Israel will be saved, they don't remember that. They remember other verses. For those verses, they present their agenda. And when the verses says Israel will be saved, that is a promise of God, not a promise of disciple of Jesus. And when he say, so all Israel shall be saved, no exception, as it is written, God insists to never give up on Israel, as it is written. So I hope we gave you some let us say feed for your education. You know, we speak against Islam, we fight Islam, and sometimes we get angry from Muslims, but even Muslims, we are not allowed to hate them. So what's wrong with those people hating Israel? How much hate they have in their heart? Why they cry for a child of Hamas? He died because his father, the terrorist, hiding underneath of the house, but he never cry for the child of a Jew. How much hatred he has for the Jews? Why? How come he remember Israel, insulting Israel, attacking Israel, but he never remember that those who he called them friends and they invite him to his channel and he act like a puppy in their channels, he never asked them, shame on you, you are a Zionist. And you know what? For those who like Shamshon, tell him this challenge. If he's truthful, make a video and call David Wood an apostate prophet, all the names you call me, because I support Israel. Call them Mossad agent, Zionist, evil. Correct, guys? I mean, they support Israel way more than me. I don't speak about Israel every day. They wear their Jewish hat. They went all the way to Israel. He never opened his mouth. He sat like a puppy. Right? No, the Jews who refuse Jesus will never be saved. I mean, why are you, are you deaf? Arthur, are you deaf? Guys, did I say the Jews who refuse Jesus are saved? I never said that. I said the Jews are still Jews. He become a Christian or not, still he's a Jew. Jew is his identity. The Jews, when we say Jews, we are talking about people who they are ethnic and religion at the same time. So if a Jew become an atheist, still he's a Jew. They call him Judah, you know, the people of Judah. He's an atheist. All right? Or maybe he worship Baal. Or maybe he's a homosexual. But that will not change the fact he's Israeli. So don't be silly. So anyone who don't accept Jesus is not saved. So what I'm saying to you, that Israel is not replaced, for there's tons and a lot of Israeli Christians who accepted Jesus. So yes, there is Jews who don't accept Jesus, but there's a lot of Jews accepted Jesus. So why we delete all of Israel, say there's no more chosen people of God, and we forgot that all the Christians who they are Jews who accepted Jesus. The disciples themselves are Israel. The disciples themselves are Israel. They are Jews. Who is Peter? Who is Paul? Israel never gone. Israel continue believing in God, as every group of us Your son might not believe. Your son might turn an atheist. Does that mean the whole family are gone? Does that mean the mama and the daddy who believe in Jesus, they worship Jesus, they pray to Jesus, they are gone too because the son, he refused Jesus and he cursed Jesus and he called him names? No. So when they say to you that the kingdom of God is taken away from the Jews, they are talking about those who rejected Jesus. But there's a lot of Jews who become, in fact, the majority of the Jews are already Christians. This is why the Jews are small in number. What happened? This is, you know, this ethnic is thousands of years old. Hitler, he killed 6 million. Even still, there should be way more. I will tell you what happened. The majority of them, they become Christians. Those are Israel. Nobody, and God never replaced Israel. Not to mention that it's mentioned about certain numbers of certain tribes will be saved too. Is that true? That the Bible mentioned certain numbers of the Jews will be saved, right? And even it count the numbers of each tribe. Those are Jews. So salvation happen only by God command. And God command is that I am the way and there's no other way. So you are a Jew or not, you might go to hell, you might go to heaven. If you believe, you go to heaven. If you don't, you go to hell. Judah himself was a disciple of Jesus. Right? He betrayed Jesus. He sold him. It was his choice. And later he felt so bad and he, you know, and he killed himself. But still Judah, he is Judah. He did what he did. So saying that salvation is taken away from the Jews and they are not people chosen God, that is false. And the clear proof of us for that, about that, is the disciple of Jesus. You see, the disciple is the proof that they are chosen people of God and the mission continue. Do you understand what I'm saying? If the Jews are out of God's salvation and God will replace them, then the disciples should not be Jews. Because they rejected him, as they say, right? No, they did not. It's not true. Not all of them rejected Jesus. So the mission of the chosen people of God continue with the disciple. Are you with me, guys? If the disciples are the Jews, so how we can say Israel is gone? Those are Israel. Those are Israel. Israel never die.
Hey, Christian Prince, how you doing?
I'm fine.
I wanted to say, in general, we in Israel, we very much appreciate that some Christians, they like us. I'm not a Christian personally, but I understand that many of the Christians, they very much like Jews, and I think it's a great thing. I think people like Sam Shimon, they come from a perspective of medieval and European anti-Semitism. Well, they think that because the Jews participated in the act of killing our God, we will be condemned for all eternity. And they also have an insecurity because we did not convert en masse to the Roman Catholic religion. Not to insult or put it down, I think it comes from that. But I appreciate how you like our people, you love our people, and you come out and although you're from the Arab world, you understand that we have a common root, we have a common origin, and that one day we will have peace, I hope.
All right, thank you very much. However, my message is so clear, is what Jesus says. There's no one is willing to be saved unless he accepts Jesus. This is what Christianity teaches, and this is what we believe. We reject hate against the Jews, and we support Israel. But at the end of the day, only Jesus can save Jews or non-Jews. So we are not hypocrite who you know, like in the Middle East we have like this statement, like, you know, this guy, you know, when somebody is rich and he come and he have some dust in his shoulder, everybody start like clean his shoulder, trying to make him just to show him that they care so much for him. We don't do that. We don't. We say it as it is. You believe in Jesus, you will be saved. And this has nothing to do with Roman Catholic or non-Roman Catholic. This is what the Bible teach. No salvation without Jesus, no matter who you are. All right? Are we clear? This is not an opinion. This is what the Bible teach. And for us as a Christians, opinion, it doesn't matter. People, they can have many opinions. But what matter is what the Bible, for we are, our constitution is only the Bible, not priest, not a bishop, not a pope. They don't count. Many of them, they are fraud. From any church, doesn't matter. Protestant, Orthodox, Catholic, doesn't matter. So for me, I'm not really much into this Roman Catholic and etc. I believe that every church have something, you know, I don't accept. As I said, this can be opinion. But there's something, we Christians, we cannot follow opinion. For the Bible is so clear. And if God said, no one else have a word to say. All right? We never compromise. We never play as we wish. No, my friend, I got your answer. No problem. There's no need to come to the stage again. I got you. Thank you for joining. So anyway, anyone have a question? How many here, if you don't support Israel, give me one. If you don't support Israel, you don't agree that we should support Israel, and you are a Christian, give me one. Anyone? Monica, you don't support Israel? If you don't support Israel, give me one. Well, we are not talking now about the cartel, my friend. Somebody's asking, I have a question, Christian Prince. Do I seriously have to love people like Mexican cartel who torture people? My friend, you understand love wrong. You understand love wrong. Love is you fighting to save people, not kissing them and hugging them. So if somebody is a rapist, he will go to hell. Who is saying to you, love him? Love in Christianity is not about giving kisses and hugs. If I see the cartel, I will shoot at them. I will not even preach. For they are filthy creatures, animals. The Lord, he says, the one who live by the sword shall die. Which means this is the penalty for them. Now he repent to God, he don't repent, this is his business. But a person who is filthy, scumbag, raping kids, torturing people, cutting hands and feet, he deserves to be punished. Even if he repent to God, he should be punished. You see, when God he punished, when Jesus said, Father, forgive them. Okay, he forgave them, not me. I have no power over him. That's it. I have no say after what he said. If he said, I forgive those who did kill me, he forgave them. That's it. I cannot talk. But the Bible confirms that rapists, criminals, thieves, they have to be punished. You repent or not, still the punishment is there. So God, now you repent, okay, let's say you are in your last time of your life, you repent, God, He knows, really, you repent, you're from heart, or you are maybe just saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to die now, let me repent to God, so in case He is true, I will go to heaven. You know what I mean? Because people, they do that. So don't misunderstand the love of Jesus. The love of Jesus, Jesus says when He come with the glory of His angels, He will command His angels, says, bring them in front of me and slay them. Jesus, when He come back, is not going to be the same as the Messiah when He came first time. When He come back, He will be the judge, the ruler, the King of kings, the one who will send people to heaven and people to hell. He will be very hard on those who transgress against God. The time of mercy will be over. No more mercy. All right? So, for now, you have time to repent. But you never know. You might die an hour from now. Who knows? Who knows? I might not wake up tomorrow morning. Who can guarantee me I will live until tomorrow? Nobody. Doctors? Nobody knows. Nobody knows how many of us will go to sleep, they will not wake up. So repent. Repent and mean it from your heart. When we say the Jews, they refused Jesus, they lost the kingdom of God, we are being hypocrite. Who is talking? Look who is talking. Unbelievable how hypocrite people are. We receive Jesus from the Jews, from the Israelis specifically, from the people of Israel. All the disciples of Jesus is from Israel. All the prophets who prophesy about Jesus are from Israel. And then what we do? Because some of us are fraud, we say, let us dump Israel in the trash. They rejected Jesus. No, they did not. For Israel continue through the disciple and those who converted within their preaching. And as you see in the book of Acts, 3,000 Jews converted in one day, in 1 hour. Like how long it take to make this speech Peter he did? 5 minutes? Huh? How long would it take to play all the audio in this video? 5 minutes? So Peter, he made a speech for 5 minutes. 3,000 Israeli. I want to use the word Israeli to hurt the feeling of those who they are fraud. 3,000 Israeli in 5 minutes speech, Peter, he said, converted and get baptized. And of those 3,000, many, they crucified Jesus. How we know? Well, Peter, he said to them, you crucified him. You crucified Jesus. Who can deny that? The verse in front of you. But you know, again, if you are a person who hate, you will find any way to give your hate a certification of a beauty. Like you are not guilty of your hate. And God said, the same as the Muslims, you know, God says, kill them, rape them, torture them, take their land. God said. So when you are a fraud, you always justify any act you do. Whom you have crucified, speaking to who? to the Jews of Israel. Therefore let the house of Israel. Who? People, do you see what it says? Therefore let the house, let all, man, I missed the all. Now they cannot say some. It says all. Therefore let all the house of Israel know assuredly that God has made the same Jesus whom you have crucified, both Lord and Christ. Now at this moment he's talking, describing what happened to the Israeli. Their heart felt so sorrow, so sad. Their heart felt broken. They were pricked in their heart and said unto Peter, what we shall do? They said to the disciple, what we shall do, whatever we did. This, they thought, oh wow, we lost our salvation. What we have done? What we have done to ourselves? If Sam Shamoun is there, he will say to them, you go to hell. That's it. Read Matthew 21. You are a Zionist. Get out of here. Look what the beautiful word of Peter said to them, which is an inspiration from God. Then Peter said to them, repent and be baptized. See how the language of love is? He just told them, you killed him. But he's not calling them names. Those are the ones who killed Jesus. This is not a guy in YouTube speaking something against Jesus. They are the one who killed Jesus. Still Peter speaks to them with all the love in his heart. For God he loved Israel. And Peter is just doing the command of God. And if somebody is an idiot, he will say to you, Peter don't understand God's words. He must be mental. So the conclusion is very simple. Israel never been demolished as a nation. People of God, they were there, they're still there. How they continue? The disciples themselves. And those who accepted Jesus, not only during the time of Jesus, those who accepted Jesus after the time of Jesus, after his crucifixion. As you see, they repented immediately, and then they get baptized. And then the chapter described for us. Imagine how beautiful it is to see 3,000 Israeli in 5 minutes accepting Jesus. What a victory. What a victory. Victory for Israel. Victory for the people of Israel. The 3,000 Israeli 2,000 years ago, what the number shall be today? Guys, is that a good question? 3,000 Israeli, they converted in front of the eyes of Peter 2,000 years ago. What is the number will be by now? Abraham is just one man. He have a few kids. Correct? Not 3,000 kids. He made nations. Now we have a 3,000 Israeli. Is Israel is gone? Do you see how silly the idea? Are you getting the point? 3,000 would be 300, my friend. But why 300? My grandfather, I remember, this is a long time ago, I don't know what the number now. I was like maybe 19 maybe. So my grandfather, he invited our family, all the family, from one side, not like from both, because from your dad, from your mom, right? Just from one side. We have 96 boys over the age of 18, all of them from one grandfather. 96. We did not count even. The reason we count them, because they wanted to know how much food they would do. Food for someone over 18 will be different from food for kids. So 96 from one grandfather. Men, we did not even count the girls, because the boys will be alone. In old days, they have a lot of kids. Not like today, everyone have one, maybe they don't even have any. So when we speak about the 3,000, if I say there will be now 30 million, I will not be exaggerating. Right? If everyone, every generation, you know, make 10 kids only, which is a small number at that time. You know, having kids at that time is a must. Not long time ago, actually. Because having kids is your security, is your safety, is your insurance, is your social security. They are the one who will pay for your retirement. Having kids is a must. When you get sick, we get older, who's going to take care of you? There's no like government now, they have a nurse in the house. No, that's it. Your family is everything. Your family is your security. So if a 3,000 Israeli, they accepted Jesus in 5 minutes. What about the rest of the life of the disciple? How many they accepted Jesus? We don't know. So Israel continue. Israel never died. Are you with me? Israel is still there and will stay there. For this is God's promise. Those who don't accept Jesus, they made their choice. Still they are Israeli. But Israel, the Christians, still there. And nobody can replace the Israeli Christians. Nobody. I cannot replace them. I am not an Israeli. I never was. And I cannot be. So when they make this fabrication, the replacement theory, it is a fraud. For a very simple reason. Did we forget that all the teaching of Christ came to us from those who you claim that they are replaced? You know what I mean? Who replaced them? Jews replaced Jews? They are Jews. Jewish Christians. Nothing changed. They were Jews. They're still Jews. The Jews, they were waiting for Jesus. Remember, nothing changed. Some they accept, some they reject. Nothing changed. In the time of Moses, some they accept, some they reject. Nothing changed. Some they worship idols, some they worship Yahweh. Nothing changed. It was always like this. Stay away from those, anyone you see him, he support or he speak against Israel. You should know immediately he is a fraud and he is an antichrist. He is supporting the enemy of Israel because he want to deliver Jerusalem to the hand of the enemy. I will prefer to die before I see Jerusalem in the hand of the Muslims. And I'm speaking to you from my heart. I will go volunteer and I will fight until the last second of my life before I see the moment where somebody's come back of Hamas taking over Jerusalem, over my dead body. And what I say, I do. I'm a warrior. I'm not like those potato, tomato. They never even hold a gun in their life. I served in the army. I served in the police. I joined the army in the time of war, when nobody want to go. Nobody want to go. The army have difficult time to recruit people. Nobody want to go. Who want to go in the time of war? Nobody. I went with my own feet. We are the warrior of Christ. And those who they are supporting the enemy of Christ, they want to deliver Jerusalem to the hand of the enemy. They cannot be one of us in no way, in no mean. So I warn you, when you see somebody is against Israel, he is satanic. If you want to say to you Israel is sinful, we are sinful too. He have a hump in his back, but he see the pimple of somebody else's eyes or face. You know, during my work in the internet, I witnessed to a lot of garbage. First time I start talking about Islam, many Christians, they start saying to me, we cannot talk like that. This is not the teaching of Jesus. Jesus says, love your enemy. You know, they start framing me. They start making me like the devil. What I did, just because I'm responding to Muslims. They want the Muslim to corrupt their kids, lying to their kids, and they don't want anyone to respond to them. So they are potato, they don't dare to speak about Islam, and if somebody is brave to talk, they don't want him to talk. When I was in the Middle East, I always carry a gun with me. Those Christians, why you have a gun with you? We are Christians. I said, okay, what's wrong with having a gun? No, I mean, we're peaceful, we don't have guns. What? They make me look, honestly, they make me look like if I am a criminal, like a drug dealer, even though my gun is legal. You cannot carry a gun. Okay, you say to them, but isn't Peter have a sword with him? And then when we say to you, one of them, he's smart, he says to me, this is metaphorical. Oh, really? The sword of Peter, who he cut the ear of the guy, was metaphorical sword. So did he cut his ear metaphorically or horizontally? So I struggle with a lot of stupidity, because obviously we are being taught very false information about Christ. So when we say Christ said love your enemy, it doesn't mean you let your enemy take your land and take your home and rape your wife, you idiot. Love your enemy, this is about in the society. Don't be evil. Don't go and fight and beat your neighbor. The Bible is so clear about fighting and defending. The Lord, he says, you go to the field, I will be with you. I will be with you. He encouraged them for war, to defend. They have it wrong. And I say to you, never marry your daughter to a man he refused to have a gun, or to practice, to learn about fighting and arms. Because who's going to protect your daughter? A sissy boy? When the criminals, they come to the house, he will hide behind her? We don't want those. We don't want them. And I have a lot of respect for the Israeli army. For more than a year they are fighting, and the whole world is against them. Be my witness. The whole world is against them, even the scumbag Joe Biden. Yet they are victorious. They made them wanted everywhere. Crime, war crime, a lot of pressure. They never give up. And look at the result of what happened. All their enemies collapse. The Iranian, they are running, hiding their tail between their legs. The Assad is right now in a basement in Russia. Hezbollah, nowhere to be found in Lebanon. The Iraqi Shia militant, all the leaders, they run away to Iran. Joe Biden, who opposed Israel, he lost the election. Do you understand what I'm saying? those who oppose Israel, they will lose. And those who support Israel, they will win. For a very simple reason. God made it happen. The whole world against them. Europe, Germany, France, everybody against them. Barking like dogs. Wow, 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 wow. Israel, Israel, Israel. The money of Qatar and the Muslims around the world, more than 1 billion posting videos in the internet, making fabricated videos to smear and to frame the Israeli. Still, Israel won. They want to brainwash everybody to use your kids against the Israeli. And this potato, Shamshon, he is one of those kids. He want to just be blessed by the Muslim support. Oh, do you support you against Israel? Thank you. Thank you for saying the truth. Saying the truth, huh? All right. Anything else? You can hear it. I'm scratching my beard. How you can hear it? I guess you can hear it, really? I'm scratching, yeah. This guy, he can hear it. Yeah, my beard is long. I need to, trim it a little bit. It's bothering me. It's touching the microphone, actually, It's getting long. It's like 2 meters now. I don't know. I got a ticket from the policeman because my beard was out of the window, blocking the highway. All right. Somebody said, what about Ephesians? It says the sword of salvation. My friend, that word is different. What's wrong with you? There, Peter, he cut the ear of the guy. He cut the ear of the guy with the sword of the Spirit. This is a different story. I can say, okay, I am armed by the sword of the word of God. Okay, now the context is telling me that this is not a sword. Okay, Jesus said, I did not bring peace, but sword. But you read the rest, it's talking about family. So the sword here is not a sword, physical sword. So don't be a foolish, says to me, it says here, there. The sword of Peter is a real sword. Isn't it Jesus says, the one who don't have a sword, go and buy one? Buy one, buy one. Do you buy spiritual sword? Huh? Your Majesty, do you buy spiritual sword? If you can buy it, tell me where I can buy one from Amazon. He said to you, sell your garment. If you don't have sword, sell your garment and buy a sword. So if this is a spiritual sword, according to your funny understanding, can you give me the website so we can purchase a spiritual sword which we can buy? Crazy people, man. What I can say? Spiritual sword is the Bible now. He said, buy. And then they said to him, well, Lord, we have 2 swords. He said, that's enough. We have two. They have 2 Bible? I understand that if you are a coward, you try to find like a solution for yourself. Why you are a coward? Why you fear to have arms around you? Because you are a potato. So you play the game that you are peaceful, but in fact you are pissed off and you are scared to be a man. So you decide to become a dummy. And now you play the game that I'm not allowed to have a sword. You are a liar. Anyway. By the way, I have a lot of a spiritual sword here. Oh, look, I have one here. No, not this one. This one is loaded. Yeah, this is a spiritual sword. Potato. Potato. Don't get married. Your wife, she will rape you. Lord have mercy. What we can say? Right? No, we have to be armed with the word of the Lord and with real arms. If the Israeli right now, they don't have arms with them, they will eat them alive. So God, He gave them the wisdom, He gave them the intelligence. I mean, did you notice how smart the Jews are? They are the top scientists in the world. Do you think this is a coincidence? Seriously, do you think this is a coincidence? If you go right now and check what is the number of scientists who come with innovation between all the scientists of the world, you will see the Israeli, they are at the top, the Jews. Do you really think this is a coincidence? No, it's not. This is a blessing of God. So they can survive. And if I am saying this is not true, prove me wrong. How many Arab scientists, there is Arab scientists. In fact, we have somebody here, he has something to say. Hello? First of all, let me prove you wrong. Me myself, I'm a doctor. Zakir Naik, what a doctor. You are a vet doctor. I mean, you don't even the difference between a donkey, a female donkey and a male donkey. You are a big fat liar. Okay, what the difference between a female donkey and a male donkey? Very simple. First of all, the female donkey, the female. Oh. And the male donkey, the male. Abdul, I told you it's the different. I told you there's a male donkey and a female donkey. The question is how you know that. How you know the difference? What the difference between them? You are so stupid. This question is not legitimate. Abdul, just tell me. I mean, the very simple question. We have two donkeys. One is okay. How we recognize which one is a male and which one is a female? Very simple. We call the donkey. We speak first in the language of a lady. What? Lady. Okay. So you say like Miss Donkey? Exactly. If the donkey answer, that means he is the female. That's deep. So Abdul, you never heard of something called balls? Listen, behave yourself. We are Muslim. We don't look at the testicle of donkey. Well, Umar al-Khattab, he put his hand inside the anus of the donkey. This is a big fat lie. He did not put it for the purpose of bad things. He was looking for the keys. He was looking for the keys inside the anus of the donkey. What his keys is doing there? It failed there. Lord have mercy. Can you speak about those who like to say the Israel talk about the Bible is not the same as Israel today? My friend, we have tons of verses in the Bible, right? It's speaking about Israel at the end of the time and Israel at the time of Jesus and Israel later. All right? Like actually, one of you, he was asking me to speak about a verse in the Bible. You know, Zechariah 8, I think, right? Zechariah 8:23 is speaking about what? That people, when they see a Jew, like this is in the future, when they see a Jew, they hold in his clothes. Why? Because they knew that the God is with them. Just to get, okay, those people are God with them. So that's what we are saying. There's nothing is called Israel now, Israel today. Now, if somebody, let's say, like let us say now in Israel, because they have a shortage of population, there is some they they convert to Judaism. Well, those are not Israel. Israel is those who are the children of the Israeli. Any of those who they are new, they have a citizenship. Like now, I am an American citizen, but am I an American native Indian? No. I have a passport. It says American. Okay, wonderful. But I cannot claim to be a Native American unless I am Kamala Harris. I can change my gender. I can change my name. I can change my color. I can be an Indian even though, or a black even though I am an Indian. All right? Good? You know, and the same people who says to you that those are not the same Israeli, right? Okay, but look what how stupid they are. They show you a verse from the Bible saying that they are taken, the heaven is taken away from them, the kingdom of God taken away from them. So if this is the case, why you are saying it's taken away from them? Are they the same people or not? If they are not the same people, that means the verse is not about them. Lord have mercy. Oh boy. You know that my English is not that good, right? So I do my best to speak with my limited English. So when I said one day, stupidity is amazing, many people they say to me, how that work? I insist, stupidity is amazing. It's amazing. You know, when you are stupid, you are happy. You are high. Stupid. Everything for you look different. And even colors look different. You are stupid. You don't want to think. You want people to think for you. The book is there. The Bible is there. Go read it. God blessed us by Israel. Your names, all of you Christians, are Jewish names. Mary is a Jewish name. Joseph is a Jewish name. Peter, John, Paul, Jewish names. And then you try to wash your hands from the Jews, says they are bad, they are not good, we throw them away. You are a hypocrite. All the prophets of God, they are Jews. All the prophets of the Jews who came to prophesy about Jesus are Jews. And then you come from the middle of nowhere. Just because you believe in Jesus now, you dump them in the trash. It's like somebody built a palace for you. And then yesterday, you got a key to the palace. You claim that you own it and they don't. Are you with me? Do you understand what I'm saying? So the Jews, prophet after prophet after prophet, prophesying. We have hundreds of prophecies about Jesus, which mean all of them, they were prepared. Even the story of Noah, even the names of the children of Adam and Noah and Seth, all those names is to tell us about Jesus. And where the message end? All the way into Israel, not into Rome. And then we say, you know what? Get rid of them. They rejected Jesus. This is not true. As you see, thousands of souls of the Jews saved. When the Messiah was resurrected, is it true that the Bible says that thousands of saints resurrected with him? Is that true, guys? Is that true, or I'm quoting the verses wrongly? That there is many, they were resurrected when Jesus was resurrected. So, who are those people? And why they are resurrected? Those are Israel, the blessed ones of Israel. Those are not the Gentiles, not my grandfather and your grandfather. But again, if you are a person who play games and you have little knowledge and the one in front of you is an ignorant, you can fool as you wish. But we know better. We know better. You know, when the disciple of Jesus, they wrote about the lineage of Jesus, and they went all the way to David. Isn't it, this is all is Israel? If there's any one of you, his grandfather name is written there. And there's bad and there's good. Still, they wrote the names all the way to David. David himself committed a great sin against God. Is that true? David himself. Still, they wrote all the names all the way to David. Sometimes people, they call me making up lies about Islam. I say this is not true. Is that because I like Muhammad? No, but it's not true. It's a fabrication. I'm just being honest. Some, because they are hypocrite and liars, they fabricated stories to make Islam look bad. I don't do that. I will never do that. If the story is a lie, I will say it's a lie. It's not exist. And the one who is calling me, he will be surprised. He's expecting me to say, yeah, Muhammad did that. No, it's not true story. There's no story. No, there's no such a thing. I do not need to fabricate. First, this is not what we do as a Christians. Secondly, we lose our salvation as a Christians if we start fabricating lies about somebody, even if he's the devil himself. The father of all lies is the devil. So it doesn't matter what kind of lie you do, it is the devil. Doesn't matter you are lying about who. Still, you are doing the act of the devil. Heidi saying that those names are not Hebrew. Okay, Heidi, can you call me and tell me what Peter mean? In which language? You said that Peter name is not Hebrew. Go, call me and tell me what Peter mean. Is that a French name? So Peter is, his name is not Hebrew. So what his name is? What's his name? What is the name? Go ahead. Even the name of Jesus is Hebrew. Yeshua, Elohim, Emmanuel. Oh boy. Why you don't call me Heidi? You are a Muslim, right? Call me and tell me. You don't even know the name of your prophet. Call me. Do you want to join me in Discord? My Discord is open. You click at the link, you will be there. In fact, all the names in the stupid Quran, which is stolen from the Bible, are Hebrew. So not only the disciple of Jesus, they are Jews. And it's very normal, if you are a Jew, your name is going to be Hebrew name. Do you want to join us, Heidi? You sound like a smart female. A Muslim smart female, which is unusual. You wanna come? Guys, give her the link of Discord. Maybe she can call us. Maybe, you know. And she can get us busted. Yeah, somebody is asking me to read Jeremiah. Let me thank you for the one who you just remind me of this verse. Nice verse. All right. This is Jeremiah, as you see in the screen. You know, like we are not quoting every verse, otherwise we will spend, you know, well, forever. Right? Do you see this verse, guys? I will not leave you. Who's talking? Jews, I will not leave you. If you can do the follow things, he's challenging mankind. If you can do those things, then I will cast off the seed of Israel. Beautiful verse. Do you see it? Very powerful. And this is a verse chosen for us by Field Day. Thank you, Field. Nice verse, nice choice. You know, I really love those who make a comment and they enrich our conversation. You know, like when I'm trying to prove a point, there's tons of ideas. There's no way you can remember everything. So I really appreciate those who enrich the conversation and they share with us something maybe we forgot, or even maybe we never read before. Not all of us, we did read the Bible, all of it. No, Peter, you see, Peter is, those names have a transformation, you know, the transformation into languages. But I believe all the names which is used in the Bible are Hebrew. There's a transformation of languages and like for names. Like, you know, the word Jesus, there's nothing is called Jesus, right? The word Jesus literally does not exist. But because in the Greek language, they have, you know, they are limited in the language. They don't have the same letters. And even some letters are not exist until not long time ago in the Latin language, correct? So they have to replace a letter close to the letter which is missing. Correct? Like, you know, when we say Muhammad, we say Muhammad in English. Why? Because this is wrong. There's nothing is called Muhammad. It is Muhammad. But because in English you don't have the letter eh, so you say Muhammad. Muhammad is a bad word actually. Like, you know, from Hamada. Like when somebody, you press him down. You like a slash hammer, you know. It's not even a good word. Anyway. Yeah, we know, like, you know, we have Tom, like other person he is posting for us. What is the name? Who is the one who said Alex, thank you, Alex. Alex, he gave us another verse. Let us see. Let me open it. Give me a second. Let me close some pages. I have too many pages in front of me. Give me a second. I keep opening pages and putting them in front of me. All right. He asked us to post Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 11. This is Isaiah 11. Yeah, you know, like they will come and they will give you like excuse. Okay, this is before. This is it. No, God, He knew the future. Like, you know, the other verse in Jeremiah, when God, He says this, when the Lord, He made a promise. Do God knew the future of Israel, or He don't? For sure He knew. So the Lord saying to you and to us, if the heaven above can be measured, and by the way, remember that the Bible says, prophesying about the size of the heaven, that God, He stretched the heaven like a curtain, which means it's expanding. It's not a fixed size. So if the heaven above can be measured, and the foundation of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, says the Lord. Beautiful verse. And this is the conditions. Right? All right. Well, I hope that you guys, you will put comment in the video down there. Give us verses, enrich the conversation. And the good thing is that we help each other in to learn. Like, look what God, He did to the Assyrian. Look what He did to Egypt. Look what He did to the kingdom of Cush, Elam, all the kingdoms, for the sake of Israel. All for this nation. And this is what our friend, he is asking us to post Isaiah. Right? Not for the sake of the Arab, not for the sake of the Persian, not for the sake, it's for the sake of Israel. So those who will deny Israel, I see them as like somebody is getting naked. You know what I mean? He get naked and he claimed that he is dressed. Yeah, against Damascus, there's tons. You know? Like, this filthy emperor of Rome, he was burning the towns just because of the Christians. The same happened. So we are believers and we have to be truthful. And don't let somebody, his hate to the Jews, make you forget that your Lord Himself, He come to the Jews. The disciple of the Lord, they carry the message as a Jews. Paul, the most aggressive, conservative Jew, is the most conservative Christian. Very conservative. And many hate him, by the way. So when Paul, he speak against the Jews, Don't forget that he's a Jew himself. He's a Jew Christian, not only Christian. You would love to talk to me, Heidi? Why you don't join us? Go ahead, call me. I asked you to join 50 minutes ago. Now you answer. Yeah, you see, like many people, they are posting verses. Read them, guys. Educate yourself. Beautiful verses. Look like there's many people here. They knew the Bible more than me. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you. See how beautiful to have a Christian family? We learn from each other. We remind each other. And in the same time, when somebody is wrong, we rebuke each other. But we cannot call a fraud anything but a fraud. And somebody, he don't want the Israeli to have Jerusalem. He is calling for Muslims to take it. He is betraying Jesus. We have a Muslim want to join us. Let us see.
Hello.
Go ahead, Omar. You are a Muslim?
Oh, hey. Yes, CP. No, I'm actually an ex-Muslim, and you're one of the reasons they're
Oh,
listening to you and people like that, Sam Shamoon as well. You know, I don't agree with him on everything, and I don't agree with you on everything. But I had a couple questions. One is basically when it comes to Israel and what they do, you know, the evilness that they've done. They attacked the USS Liberty and tried to frame people, or like
yeah. Omar,
the
today our topic is not
yes,
really
stuff.
not today about Islam. Maybe tomorrow, if you want, you can
No,
join
no, no.
us.
It's not Islam. I'm talking about basically Zionism and why that is, I think, evil, and they are committing genocide right now. That's the kind of the
Okay,
discussion I want to speak on.
okay, I got you. So,
So, are they committing genocide? Why
where is
should we
the
support
genocide?
that
Where is
genocide?
the Zionist committing genocide? Explain to me. I'm slow.
I mean, like all the babies getting killed right now, the overdoing of it
Where the baby is getting killed?
in Palestine.
Who is killing them?
Well, I was just hearing about the bombings and basically Hamas. They're cowards. The
Why
coward
the bombing
terrorists.
is happening?
The coward terrorists are taking a shelter maybe where there's people, but then
Okay,
instead of
so look what
a
you are doing.
better way of doing it.
Look what you are doing. So now you come to my house, you rape my wife, you rape my daughter, you kidnap even my dog or my son who is 9 months old, and then you run to your town. You hide under those children, as you call them. The children, they were dancing in the street in October 7, giving back lava in the street, and we have tons of videos. Saying Allahu Akbar, even though they are supposedly children. Women, they are giving back
But
lava and cookies.
is
Shut
the
up. Let
documented
me answer. Giving back lavas and cookies, all those are civilians. All of them are civilians. Okay. So civilians are accomplices in the crime. And they are working together to hide the terrorists. So we go, we kill, we rape, we steal, we kidnap, and then we go and we hide under the women and children. And the children and the women, they knew their duty is to protect us from the Israeli. So if they bomb on us, they will be doomed. The whole world will go against them. If they don't bomb, we will keep their women and children, and we will rape them, and we have victories for the sake of Allah. So now, if I go back and I try to get my children who have been kidnapped by the Muslims, and right now as we speak they are raping them, I am a bad person because I shoot at Hamas, and Hamas is hiding behind their families. So according to you, this is genocide.
But what if I'm innocent and they come to my
There's
under my
there's
house to
nothing is called
hide,
innocent.
or
There's nobody is innocent because those people are dancing in the
my
street.
family aren't
Hold
involved?
on. Did you see the videos? They are dancing in the street on October 7?
I don't know if those were the same people they were
They
hiding
are the
with.
same people. All the Muslims, they were dancing. Muslims around the world, they were celebrating, not only in Gaza. And they are children. Even they are children even in 9/11. So now,
My
Listen, listen. You are being a hypocrite, my friend. You kill my family, you kill my people, you attack me, I will attack you. You choose the location of the fight. It's you who decide. You choose to go and run behind children's. The children themselves are no children's, because those Muslims, they teach their children's to kill the Jews too. I can show you tons of cartoons about killing the Jews. Children, they were dancing. Women, they were dancing. Old men, they were dancing. Looting. They brought their children, even they carry toilet seat. So now, if the Jew, he attack back, he's a bad person. You see how hypocrite you are? So I want to ask you a very serious question. I don't mean to insult. If somebody come to your house, kidnap your wife, and he's raping her right now, do you go to his house to get your wife?
I mean, of course.
Okay. What if he is shooting from behind? What if he is shooting from behind the window and he have his wife, has the children inside? Are you going to shoot?
But on a mass scale where it's tens of thousands of people,
doesn't matter. This is a war. It is 10,000 because it's a war. They attack by tens of thousands too. They shot.
Weren't there supposed to be ceasefires?
They shot thousands of rockets at Israel in less than 2 hours. They were shooting at what? Blind rocket. They fall on people. They fall everybody. So they send rocket. Oh, the Jews cannot send rocket. Only Muslim can send rocket. They kill children. Oh, they cannot do the same. So I ask you, of course you said you will go. Okay. If a criminal in the most advanced country in America, he have a gun, he's shooting at the police in America, but his family is inside, do you think the police will shoot back or will not?
I might have to look into it more, but from what I heard, Israelis also attacked themselves and claimed it was the Arabs so they could retaliate in a harder way.
Yeah. They attack themselves and they record videos, and Hamas, they were celebrating. Israeli, they raped themselves, they killed themselves, and the hostages sent by the Israeli to Hamas. Hello? Hamas? Okay, the hostages, come and kill them, okay? Yes, come and kill them. How many you want? No problem. I mean, do you see how stupid you are? They attack themselves. just go. I don't have time for stupidity. I'm sick of it. Hamas themselves, they say we kidnapped them, we killed them, and we will do more. What's wrong with people? 9/11 happened by America. Abdul, the Muslims, Al-Qaeda, they were celebrating tons of videos made by Muslims. Osama bin Laden is a real person. America attacked itself. You know, those people who think of inside job, I don't know what to say to them. I don't want to be rude, but I think if we ask him who is your dad, he would say it's an inside job. They love conspiracy. We have tons of videos of the Muslims celebrating, dancing in the street in Gaza. They recorded the video by themselves. Hamas themselves recorded the video by themselves. Kidnapping women in the festival, recorded by Hamas, not by the Israeli. And the funny is that those who've been kidnapped and killed in the festival, in case you do not know, those who support peace and they are anti-Israel, which means they are Jewish hippies. Seriously, the Nova festival is for the weirdo of Israel. They are hippies. This is what the festival is about, peace festival. They choose to be close to Gaza. One of the women, she was killed in those little villages, Israeli villages. She spent her life, guys, taking children from Gaza to Israel hospitals. She spent her life. That's what he do. She don't do anything. Every day, they call her from Gaza. They give her list of names of the children who they need surgeries, which cannot be done in the hospital in Gaza because those doctors do not have the qualification. We know that the Jewish doctors are the best in the world. So this woman, she go and she do process, and she make them sign, and she get an agreement, and she gets security clearance, and blah 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 blah, and then she go to Gaza, she get the kids. The Israeli, they pay for their surgery, they pay for their staying in the hospital. Those are Palestinian Muslims, by the way. They are not Palestinian, they are Arab. This woman, she was the first one, they killed her, the first one. I do not know that. The one who said that, it was an Arab Muslim from Gaza. He was saying to them, how in the world do you do that? Do you know what this woman she did to us? Why you do that? All of us, we work in Israel. They give us papers to go and work in Israel. We are making our living. More than 100,000 Arab, they work in Israel. And we know that those Arab, each one of them, he have 15 kids, which means all of Gaza sponsored by Israel. Why you do that? Israeli are not attacking you. They gave you the land. You want the land? Okay, go ahead. You want to have a border? They made a border. You want to have a border to Egypt? Here we go. The border is in your hand. You control it. What they do? Instead of building their cities and living in peace, they were preparing for attacking and killing and rape. And when the Jews attack back, the Jews are ugly. I will say to you that Israel are very naive for doing nothing until now. Imagine if Hamas has the army of Israel and the Jews is the one who did the attack and they have the power of Hamas now. You be honest, what will happen as a result? Anyone can tell me? Just imagine. Imagine if Hamas attack Iraq and did rape their women. What the army of Iraq will do to Hamas? Shall I show you what the Assad was doing to the Syrian? Huh? His people. What about Saddam Hussein? What about the Egyptian president? What about Saudi Arabia? They cut them shish kebab, you know. Even in the embassy, they make them shish kebab. Do the Palestinians have the right to fight back? Well, fight back. They are the one who's attacking. Same time, those are not Palestinian, those are Arab. Ask them, are you an Arab? Or they will say, we're an Arab. Palestinian are not even exist. There's nothing is called Palestinian. If we assume it exists, the word Palestinian means foreigners, migrant. So when a stupid person says to you, I'm a Palestinian, he's saying to you, I am not from here. Okay, get lost. The second you say, I'm a Palestinian, you are saying, I am not from here. This is what Palestinian mean. So if you call yourself Palestinian, you are not local, you are an occupation. If you call yourself an Arab, even more horrible, you are an occupation. So which one? This is Israel. Even the Quran, even the stupid book of Muhammad say that Allah assigned the land, the Holy Land, not Palestine. Allah never mentioned the word Palestine. He assigned the Holy Land to Israel. Am I lying? Allah himself is a Zionist. Do you have any response to that? Ra? The promised land, look, it's in the Quran. Allah says to Moses to tell his people, oh my people, and look, the Muslim, they put between two brackets Palestine. They added, oh my people, enter the Holy Land which Allah has assigned to you. Who's talking? Moses. This land is assigned not to Hamas. This land is assigned into the Jews. In your book, which is invalid, in our book, which is valid. Right? And Abdul? Genocide, ridiculous, and you attack them and now you cry. Like Hezbollah. And by the way, all of you are victorious at the end. The Muslims, you beat the hell of them. They lose, I mean, they lose the land, they lose their homes, they lose, and then Allahu Akbar, we were victorious. Like now the leader of Hezbollah saying, claiming that we were able to stop the enemy. Really? Are you serious? You were begging, kissing their ass to stop. America, they use all their pressure to stop them. And even now they are bombing you because they promised we will cease fire. However, if Hezbollah move their ass inside Lebanon, we will bomb them. And until now they are bombing you and you don't dare to answer. You know why? Because you beg, please stop. We are mistaken. We are sorry. But because you are stupid, proud, arrogant, you don't want to admit that you made a poo-poo in your diaper, and because of the poo-poo of Hassan Nasrallah, you lost Iraq, you lost Iran, you lost Syria, and now Hezbollah is like a rat inside Lebanon. No more weapon is coming. Where the weapon were coming from? Where? From a powerful organization of Iran, Shia organization, controlling all the way from Iran to Iraq to Syria to Lebanon. In less than a few days, Israel made you shish kebab, all of you together. And then you will claim victory as usual. I like the way your victory is. I will come into your house. You will let me, you hypocrite? Well, this is the house of the Jews. Potato. If you come to my house, I don't know what I will do to you. I will leave my fingerprint over your butt. So as you see, this is your God Allah promising the Jews that this is their land. And not only that, He commanded them to kill anyone who live in the Holy Land. It's in front of you. He told them, go and attack them and don't come back unless you are, or you will be a loser. Your God command to kill the Palestinians, right? Abdul, look how coward you are. You keep saying to me that you want me to take the land of the Palestinians, but Allah says this is the land of the Jews. Guys, do you see how coward he is? Why you don't dare to say, I spit at Allah, He is a fraud? Go say it. As long as you're against, you don't believe that this is the land of the Jews. Okay, say Allah is a big fat liar. Go ahead. You want to call me and say it? It's in front of you. Allah, He commanded them to enter the land and attack and kill everyone there. The Jews refused. They said, we will not kill them. Two only of the Jews who Allah, He loved them, they said, we will go and attack them in the gate. Do you see it? And because they refused to go and they kill the one you call them Palestinian, which by the way doesn't exist, Allah, He made them lose, not to able to go there for 40 years as a penalty, because they refused to kill the people who live in the land, which by the way, they are not from the land. Just to explain to you what's happening, in case you are a donkey, which you are. When the Jews been enslaved by the Egyptian for hundreds of years, other people came and live in their lands. So this is their land. They are coming back to their land. They are not taking the land of somebody else. Just to make it clear, they've been taken as a slave from their land, and now they are coming back to their land. This is why the verse says, enter the holy land which Allah assigned to you, for it is already their land, assigned to them from before. Do you want to call me Rawan? Or you are Ruru? Are you Ruru? Call me and tell me Allah is a Zionist. Go. We will make you famous. You don't dare, don't you, right? You're ashamed. Shame on you. Your God Allah is a Zionist. He worked for Jack Shalom, Netanyahu. Look at him. He's telling them to kill everybody who live there. No except sin. And because they refused to kill everybody there, Allah, He forbid them from entering the Holy Land for 40 years. You see it? Look, 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 look. Therefore, because you refuse to kill them, Allah will forbid you from entering the land for 40 years. Are you there, Ra? Ra is changing his diaper. He hate now Allah. He never heard that even the Quran is made by a Zionist. Huh? What is the real name of Allah? Rabbi to weave a singer? Huh? Do Allah grow like those hair in the side of his head? And he wear a hat of those Jews? I'm thinking maybe. It's obvious. He's speaking like a Zionist. They refuse to kill those people who live there. You call them Palestinian? Allah gets so upset and He forbid them from entering the land for 40 years. You see, the word Canaanite does not mean necessarily in the Bible always the Canaanite. As an example, when it say in some areas the land of the Canaanite, doesn't mean that they are Canaanite. Many places it mean that those who speak the language, because this became a popular language. So when they say the Aramaic, doesn't mean necessarily always that those who are really Aramaic, but they speak Aramaic. All right? So this language was very popular in many locations, big location, not only in one area. So this is why it's called, like they used to mark territory by the languages spoken in. Like actually now, like when we say the Arab, is the Arab one ethnic? There's no ethnic is called Arab. Arab are not ethnic. Arabian is the people of the desert. It's not an ethnic. The word Arab is coming from the Aramaic. Mean desert. So when you say Arabian, you are saying a desert person. It's not an ethnic. And now because they develop a language, so now they are using that word Arab for anyone who speaks the language. As an example, Somalia, which is Africa, and they are dark skin, they consider themselves Arab just because they speak the language, which is really hard to understand what they are saying. Arab is not an ethnic. All right. The only true native people who live there are the Christians. The Muslims are invasion. The Christian who was living there and the Muslim they enter into the land, those are the native people. And now they are become very small minority. They run away for their life. Who want to live? There's only 1,000 Christian left in Gaza. And I'm sure if you give them visa, they will run, but nobody giving them visa. Who want to live there? Anyway, I think we have enough for today. Feel free to download the video, share it with your friends. I might not keep it here for long, but just to you know, put people in their place. Whoever says to you that Israel is gone, he is a liar, he is a fraud. Israel being promised by God to stay. Israeli continue through the disciple of Jesus and those who converted to Christianity and nobody replaced it. It was there, still is there, and the Christians are still the Israeli. Christians who are Jews are the Israeli. Nothing changed. They were Israeli before Christianity and they are still Israeli after they become a Christian. All what happened is they accepted the Messiah who they've been promised to receive when they were Jews. Remember, they were Jews waiting for him. And now he came. Nothing changed. So there's a group of Israeli refuse. and those are not saved. And there's a group of Israeli accept. And as we see, we showed you from the book of Acts chapter 2 that the 3,000 Jews, which mean they are Messianic Jews, Christian Jews, accepted Jesus from those who do participate in the crucifixion of Jesus. So they repent, they get baptized, and they are not out of the kingdom of God, and still they are chosen people. So I want to say thank you for being here. And again, if you see anyone he is against Israel, never subscribe to their channel. Stay away from them. They are supporting the enemies of God. They are supporting the enemy who want to take Jerusalem. So we will never see it again. Never, if the Muslims took it. We need a miracle to have it back. Don't let those people fool you. They are serving the devil. And as the Lord, he says, from their fruits you shall know them. Thank you all for being here. May the Lord bless you. God is good. So is Jesus. Amen to that. And see you soon. Bye-bye.